Yeah, the preparations have gone well. We've had what we would call a neutral week. We have a little bit more time to invest onto the training pitch, to train and try to incorporate more of our players into our tactical schemes, because I think with everybody, the current challenge is to make sure that you've got strategies that are well understood by everybody within your squad, because of the challenges that COVID and other medical situations that may arise really present to each and every single club. So it's very difficult, but we're working on making sure that we integrate, we put in a lot of our players and every single one of our players, because everyone has got to be ready to play and be able to understand our different schemes in possession, out of possession. So we've used this week to not just prepare for Supersport, but to prepare the team, to prepare the group, and to integrate everybody into our schemes and our way of thinking in terms of trying to create a more universal structure that is clearly understood by everybody within the squad. Yeah, Supersport are probably the one team that is profiled very close to the profile of its manager. Probably the one team in the league that adopts the character and the personality of its coach. Caetano being a very good coach who has come through the structures, of course, at Supersport United now to become the head coach, has always had teams that are just as aggressively and mentally strong as he was as a football player. Very difficult to break down, but also with a lot of resilience in terms of playing through the matches. And they've got a very aggressive personality as a team. And you could see already when they played TS Galaxy Chippa, and in certain moments, you could see the hunger and the desire to get good results and to try to win the game. But they sit second on the log. And of course, we never analyze teams in relation to their log positions, because that doesn't really tell you much at this point in the season. But you can already see that they've had a very decent start to the season, quietly gone about their business with a lot of tactical flexibility, where they can play a 1-4-4-2 with two strikers of Gabuza and Bradley Grobler, who complement each other extremely well, or they can stretch slightly the last line up front with Grobler, Gabuza, and Lungu, and then maybe look to overload the midfield with an extra midfielder like a Weber, and then you've got really different challenges when you play against a midfield three in relation to when you play against a midfield two of Mokwena and Mbule, for an example, because when they overload the midfield, then you've got to look for other areas where you can look for spaces and exploit spaces. But we have to prepare for that. We have to prepare for a high press of a two, a high press of a three. Then there's also that flexibility that they have within the first line of the left foot of Ditlokwe, or they play Grant Kekana, who's right-footed. But generally, that is the profile of the team. They've been very stable with their lineup, but a lineup that gives a lot more tactical flexibility. And that tactical flexibility then gives you a couple more questions that you've got to answer. And then you've just got to be prepared for those scenarios. And that flexibility also says to you, they've got different ways of hurting you. And you've got to be ready for the ways that they can adopt in relation to the type of structure that they employ onto the pitch. Well, for us, it's another game. It's one of 30. An important game, of course. Can't run away from the fact that it's a derby, and of course with every derby there's bragging rights, and there's a lot of emotional opportunities that are at stake. But yeah, if we play the match and not play the occasion, we should be okay. We shouldn't be carried away by the event, the occasion of it being a derby. Our sole focus should be to play the match as an 11 versus 11 event that has a lot of really, really difficult questions that are posed by the opposition, which we'll have to answer. But we will also have to ask a lot of questions of them. And once we can do that, really impress our philosophy, impress our personality onto the match, then we should be okay. Our greatest message is to make sure that we play the match and not the event, of course, without undermining the importance of the derby. But for us, is one of the 30 matches that we have to play this season, and we have to keep going and keep working with getting the right results as we continue to make progress on the league title.